We go. We're live. What is up, everybody? I hope you are doing well. Actually, I hope you're doing amazing today. You know what? I was gonna do a simulcast onto my page for this one as well, but I didn't set that up. So I think I'm just gonna roll with it right here. Let me just refresh, make sure that audio is coming through. You guys can actually hear. I didn't set that up. So. And you can. Audio is working. So what's up, everybody? I hope you are doing amazing today. Today is, what, Thursday? Thursday, November 29th. Thursday, November 29th. The topic of discussion is going to be efficiency. How to be efficient, how to make stuff happen, specifically how to successfully build a home business for yourself if you're short on time and or short on money. Specifically, if you're short on time. That's what I'm going to be talking about today. So it's Think About It Thursday. I'm just calling that, just made that up. So maybe this will give you something to think about if by chance you're thinking, you know what, I would like to have a home-based business. I would like to possibly make some side gig income, but I just don't have enough time for that. I'm going to give you a different way to think about that today for what I'm calling Think About It Thursday. So let's just get right into this thing. Dean, it is indeed a deep subject. So welcome, everybody. My name is Justin Glover. Thanks so much for tuning in. This Facebook Live is going to benefit any of you who would like to create a side gig income, but you have limited time to do it. All right, I'm going to talk some efficiency strategies and tips here today. So I don't know how long it's going to go. This will probably be a little bit shorter than normal. But I'm going to share a few things. Number one, why mastering efficiency is completely essential to building a side gig income for yourself if you've got limited time. Hey, Angela, what's up, my friend? Good to have you here. I'm also going to share 3 tips that I use to improve my personal efficiency and build a 6-figure business online in like a 90-day period of time, while I also had 3 full-time jobs, working over 100 hours a week collectively at those 3 jobs. I was still able to make it happen for myself. And so those tips worked for me. So I'm going to share some of them with you, and maybe they'll work for you as well if that's what you're looking to do. So before we get into it, I like to start all these broadcasts with some good news. And so drop some good news in the comments as you come on. Let me know, where are you from? Where are you tuning in from? But what's something good going on in your world the last 24 hours? Something positive. All right, let's fill some comments with some positivity here. My good news, my personal good news, is I had an amazing time last night. I went on a little, what was it called? The Trail of Lights. I keep almost saying the Trail of Tears. We have one of those here in Arkansas, and I keep thinking it's not the Trail of Tears. We didn't cry. We saw lights, Christmas lights, and it was just a really cool time. It's like a 3-hour or 3-mile. I think maybe it's not that long, but you drive like 3 miles an hour. And so it takes a little bit to go through it. Me and my daughter and my mom and then went to go and check that out last night. And it was a good time. Lots of pretty lights on both sides, all lit up path and all that. You never get out of the car. So that's my good news. What is your good news? Let me know in the comments as you come on. Let's see who we got here. I see Janet is here. Janet Muka, welcome. Joe McKeag, hey buddy. Dean is in the house. Angelo is here. Kathy Bruton is here. Welcome. Larry McMillan, good to have you here, man. So let's get into this. All right, I'm going to share 4 simple steps that will absolutely help you build a more successful home-based business online on the internet, even if you have very little money or time, specifically time. All right, so that is the topic. Let's get right into it. So if you're considering, either starting up a side gig to make some extra income for yourself, and you got limited time, right? And you're letting the limited time stop you from doing that. Or maybe you already got a side gig. Maybe you're already involved and you're like, this isn't working. I got little time. I'm not having success. All right. Regardless of which one of those scenarios you're in, I'm going to share something with you that will help. And you might be wondering, is this worth it? Is it even worth trying to do it? I got so little time. Is it worth me trying to start making some more money on the side? Is it worth me trying to continue this? And so a couple of things that I would say, and is it even possible? That's another one that I hear oftentimes. Is it even possible? I've got so little time. I don't think I can do this. Is that even a possibility? So Jeff, I see you popped on. Welcome. Josh Heffington, what's up, my friend? Good to see you here. It's been a while. Let's chat, man. It's been too long. So what I will say to that, it is absolutely possible to do it, even if you got little time. It's absolutely possible to make it happen anyway, and it is most definitely worth it. All right, most definitely worth it. So the big secret that most people just simply don't understand when it comes to building an online or even an offline business, but just building a business on the side, building up a side gig income for yourself. The one thing that most people miss is that there's a skill. There's one skill. It's the number one skill that you should be focusing on in the beginning of building that side gig income, especially if you have limited time. That skill, does anybody know that skill? That skill, type it in the comments if you know that skill. That skill, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you probably before you have time to type it in. It's efficiency. The skill of efficiency. Efficiency is a learned skill. It's something that you can learn how to do. You can get better. You can learn how to be more productive in an hour time frame. All right. You give me an hour time frame every day for the next 10 days or 50 days or 1,000 days. It doesn't matter. You give me that same hour every day. I promise you that hour, a week from now, 100 days from now, 1,000 days from now, that hour, I will be more productive because I can learn how to be more productive within that hour of time that I have. All right. So that's what I'm leading off with. All right. I haven't gotten to the tips yet, but that is a very important distinction that most people just don't realize. Or if they do realize it, they're just playing dumb and they don't like try to get better at that skill. They chase all the other stuff and then they throw around limiting beliefs. I don't think I can do this. I got little time. So again, this whole purpose is to get you to think about this a little bit differently. Can you still make that happen? Now look, I don't care either way. If you have limited time and you decide it sounds like too much work to do this stuff, to get better, to improve my efficiency, to grow this side gig income, and you just want to stick with your limited time and keep doing what you're doing, that's fine. I don't care either way. But it's those of you that shift that thinking and decide, you know what, I think I can get better. I can get more efficient. These tips will show you how to do that. It'll help. It's kind of, I guess they're steps. They would be considered steps because you'd probably want to do these in order. And then I got a tip for you that I'll give you at the end that'll really help kind of tie all the steps together. And most people just simply don't have it. So you're ready to get started. Type in "let's go" in the comments. See a few of you here, and we'll dive in. All right. So you got limited hours to do your side gig work. All right. Just from the nature of it's called a side gig because you can't do it full time. Your hours are too limited for that. You don't have enough time to do it full time, right? Not yet, anyways. And so it's a side gig income. So that means, by definition, you got limited time that you're working with, all right? It's got to be done on the side. And so you must learn how to make the most out of those hours and those half hours, those chunks of time that you do get. You got to learn how to make the most of them and get lots more done in the time that it takes to get most people just, to get a few things done. And so here are the 4 tips or the 4 steps, right? First and foremost, you must identify how much extra time you do have that you're willing to commit. That's step 1. Look at your current schedule for the next 7 days and actually block off. Actually pull up your calendar and say, okay, Tuesday from this time to this time, I'm not doing anything. And so I'm going to commit to dedicate that time block to my side gig. Wednesday at this time, I got 30 minutes here where I'm not doing anything. So I'm committing, blocking off that time frame for my side gig. Step 1, block it off. You have to look and determine how much time do you actually have? What are you working with? All right. I do a lot of coaching, and when people come to me and say, look, help me to get better. All right, well, how much time you got? What time are you committing to this business? What time are you committing to this project? Whatever the thing is that you're working on, what time are you willing to commit to it? That's step 1. You got to know that. Step 2 is, and this can be done, these steps can be reversed if you want. I would follow them here because most people don't do step 2, which is determine your weekly activity goals. All right, I do this every Monday for myself. Every Monday, I'm looking at the rest of my week and saying, what do I want to have accomplished by the end of this week? What are the specific things? And then I work that backwards. And with that in mind, I set specific activity goals. And so if my goal is to watch a training and it's 3 modules, then my activity goal is to watch a little bit of that each day, so that by the end of the week, I've got it all done. I've got it all done. If my goal is to read a book or read a chapter in a book or read a section of a book, then I have to break it down and set my activity goals and say each day I do these activities. Now I'm saying specifically activity goals, because activity goals are the things that you control. So many people screw this up whenever they're setting their goals. They set goals like, I want to sign people up today, or this week I'm going to enroll 3 people. This week I'm going to get this many people to my website, or get this many. Like, you don't control any of that stuff. So don't set goals based on stuff that you don't control. Set your goals on stuff that you do control, your activities. What activities that if you do them, the results will come. You know what those activities are. If you're trying to recruit people into a business, then the activities are, you got to prospect, you got to market. Those are 2 of the big things. If you're not marketing on a regular basis, probably not getting a lot of attention, not getting a lot of people reaching out and asking you about your product or service or your opportunity. If you're not prospecting people on a consistent basis, if you're not asking people, hey, are you open to taking a look at what I'm doing? If you're not doing that, you're probably not getting the results. And so step 2 in this process is determine, what are your weekly activity goals? What do you want to accomplish in a week? Okay, that will, and those goals, they should support and bring you closer to your desired vision, your desired outcome, the payoff that you're looking for. All right, your goals every day that you're working on, your activity goals, they need to be in alignment with your weekly goals, okay, which also need to be in alignment with the overall vision that you're trying to accomplish, okay? And so your weekly goals will help keep you on track from day to day throughout the week. So that's key to being more efficient. All right, so if you, that way you got an hour's worth of time. At worst case scenario, you sit down to your computer, you got an hour, you're like, okay, I got the next hour to get some stuff done. Where do I start? What do I do? Look at your goals. Look at your weekly goals. These are the 6 things that I committed to doing this week. Okay, well, let me start there. It gives you a focus point, okay? But that's just step 2. You can take this a lot more specifically and be more effective, more efficient. All right, so step 3, while you're looking at your weekly goals, you want to decide, what are the specific activities that I intend on completing each day for the next 7 days inside of these work time blocks that I've blocked off in step 1. Step 1, I told you to look at your calendar for the next 7 days, block off these specific times when you're going to dedicate to whatever thing that you're working on, your side gig, your project, whatever. That's step 1, block it off. If you don't schedule it, it doesn't get done. And if you're not using a calendar, that's a rant for another day. You should be using a calendar. Get a calendar. You don't have a business, you got a hobby if you're not using a calendar. You got to understand when you need to do things, and you got to stick to it, right? And so while you're looking at your weekly goals, and so you got your weekly goals out in front of you, and you got your calendar with all the blocks, blocked off when you're going to do the work. Then you look at the weekly goals and you say, okay, what am I going to do on this first block? Look back at your weekly goals. Well, I need to do these things. I could probably get this one done during this first hour session. So I'm going to plug this in there. So now, what have we done? We've made that hour more clear. We've developed more of a vision for that hour time block. Okay, we've unpacked the vision. We now have a vision that during this hour, I'm going to get this thing done, this specific thing done. That is one of the things that I said I would get done this week. And so you just pull from the weekly goal, put it on inside of the block. And so then you just go through each one of your time blocks that you blocked off previously and say, what specifically am I going to do during this time? That's step number 3. All right, and so then you execute the week. Step 4, this is one that almost everybody misses. Because remember, what I said at the beginning, efficiency is a skill that can be learned. You can learn to be more efficient. This is where the learning comes in, step 4. You guys ready for step 4? You guys getting value from this? Type value if you're getting value from this. Leave me a comment. I feed off of the comments that you guys leave. So if you're getting value, just type the word value. That way I know that you're actually getting something out of this. So step 4. Step 4 of the process is probably the most important part of the process, all right? And that is reflect and improve weekly. Reflect and improve weekly. So every single week, you want to be reviewing your output. What did I get done this week? Actually, like at the end, like what did I really get done? I know what I said I was going to get done. I know what I put inside of the time blocks. But here's the thing. We are terrible at estimating. As humans, we're terrible at estimating how long something is going to take. Usually, we drastically overestimate something like short term, and then long term we drastically underestimate, or vice versa. I don't remember. But we're terrible at coming up with and estimating how long we think something's going to take. And so when we're putting things, when we look at an hour time block on our calendar and we say, I'm going to write this book during that hour, probably not going to happen. You might make some progress on the book, but you're probably not going to write the entire thing, right? And I know that that's a bad example. Nobody would put that, but what I'm saying is we do silly stuff like that. I mean, if you saw my to-do list within each one of my little blocks, I'm like, who is the Superman that's working on this stuff? Like, there's no way that Superman, Batman, and all of them together could ever get this shit done. Like, there's just not enough time. And so you gotta be aware of that, number one. But then also, you can get better at that, all right? So every week you're reviewing, what did I say I wanted to get done? And what did I actually get done? That initial goal that you set and how much you actually got done. And then you consider, how can I improve it? How can I get more done during this block next week? And if your blocks change from week to week, that's fine. It doesn't, I mean, people tell me this won't work for them because they have a shifting schedule. My calendar's different every week. Okay, great, so is mine. What does that mean? It means every week on Sunday or Monday, whenever you do it, you need to be looking at the rest of the week and raising your hand and claiming the time blocks on your calendar. This week, these are my blocks. Nobody can mess with these. This is when I'm working on my side gig. You got to do that. If you don't, nobody's going to do it. Nobody's going to, other stuff will take over. Other stuff will push it out of the way. And so make sure that you're doing that. So what specifically, like whenever you're looking at and you're reviewing, how did my last week go? You're looking for what specifically took me longer than expected. And how can I make it better next week? So I'll give you an example. Content creation, coming up with content. It's one of the most important things you can do as a marketer, right? Putting out content like I'm putting out right now is marketing. It's attracting people to me. You're here watching this because I'm providing you value. And this is what attracts people to me, right? The process of me consistently putting content out over time, if I'm putting content out all the time consistently, then I'm going to be attracting more and more people to me. And as a result, my business will grow. That's the way that it works. And so content creation, though, it's one thing that so many people constantly underestimate. They feel like, okay, I got 30 minutes. That's plenty of time to create this really great piece of content and put it out there. Now, can you force something? Yeah, you can. But if you force it, it's not, is it high quality? Is it your best work if you force it and you do it quickly? No, it's not. So you want to give, especially with content creation, because the idea with content creation, you don't just want to put out average content every day forever, because you could put out average or below average content every single day for the rest of your life. How many people are you going to attract? None, because your content sucks. It's average. So it should be decent. And it also should contain a call to action strategically. And so to do that, to formulate and create a decent piece of content with a solid call to action, that can take some time, all right? Most of us think, I got an hour, that's plenty of time. Well, maybe it's not. Here's what you can do. So in the realm of content creation, here's a big tip that I use all the time. since I always underestimate how long it's going to take me to create a piece of content, when it comes time to create and publish the content, it usually takes longer, especially if you're starting from scratch. And so how can you improve that? Plan ahead. Simply plan ahead. Have a content publishing schedule that's planned out weeks or months or even years in advance. Plan ahead. The other day, a couple of weeks ago, I was on a flight from like Tampa to Atlanta. It's like an hour and a half long flight. During that flight, pulled out my computer and I brainstormed and I wrote up, I think it was something like 85 content titles. This title that you're reading, right, that I wrote for this one, 4 simple steps that will help you build a successful home business online, even if you have little money or time. That's a title. I wrote that weeks ago on a flight. I had it done before today. I didn't have to, because I knew I wanted to go live today. So think about this. If I know Tuesday at noon I'm going live, and I know that Tuesday it comes time for me to go live, and I sit down and press the live button, I got to figure out, what am I talking about? Well, because I wrote my titles out a couple of weeks ago, I didn't have to figure that out. It was already done. The title guides me. It tells me what I need to do. So start by pre-planning. Now I can take this one step further. Each week, before I start my weeks, I can pick out and say, okay, let me look through these 80 titles that I got, or 500 titles, however many you brainstorm. Let me pick 7 of them that I'm going to talk about this week. I'm going to pull them over to their own little documents, and I'm just going to write 4 or 5 little points that I want to make sure I don't forget to talk about during those things. And I can do that, write 4 or 5 little bullet points for 7 different titles, and my content for the entire week is then planned out. And so when it comes time for me to go live and to do my content, how long does that take me? About a minute. I say, what am I talking about? Here's the title, here's the bullet points, copy, paste, go live. And then I'm talking, and I'm just following my bullet points and talking. So that eliminates me having to spend time, spend creative energy, spend mental bandwidth to come up and figure out what am I talking about? What are the points I want to make? Because it's all done ahead of time. So pre-planning is one way that you can become more efficient. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. So those are the 4 steps. I'm going to give you a pro tip now. All right. So this is in addition to the 4 steps. So just to recap the 4 steps. First, identify how much time you do have. Block it out. Next, determine what are the weekly activity goals that you want to accomplish in the week. Next, looking at your activity goals, looking at your blocked out time blocks, fit them in. Figure out what are you going to be doing specifically inside of those time blocks. And then each week, reflect and improve. All right. Every single week, you're looking what went well, what took me longer, what I had to do faster than I thought. And you adjust, you update, you improve, and then next week you'll be more efficient. All right. So those are the 4 steps. Here's a follow-up pro tip. All right. If it's going to be efficient, simply put, if it's going to be efficient in terms of side gig income, the most efficient type of side gig, it's likely going to be some sort of either a direct sales or network marketing opportunity, simply because they handle all of the operations. All right. If you're working a job and you're limited on time, it's probably not your best option to say, I'm going to start a business where I create all my own products, deliver all my own coaching programs, run all my own webinars, create all my own marketing, handle all of the deliverables, handle all the customer. Not smart. That shit takes time. And so if it's going to be efficient and it's going to be a good side gig income, then it probably needs to be some sort of business model or opportunity where they handle all the details. The most popular ones, direct sales companies and network marketing companies. And so they handle all of the operations. So literally, in being involved in those companies, all you have to do is handle the marketing. Can you get really good at marketing if you have little time? Absolutely. And all you got to do is get really good at marketing and let them handle everything else. And then they pay you. And so something that many people don't think about is the actual opportunity that they're with themselves. All right. For example, Uber, it's a way to make side gig income, but if you have limited time, or your time that you do have is like, I don't know, in the middle of the night, Uber's not an effect, like it doesn't make sense as a side gig income for you, because that requires more time. It requires other stuff. It requires you to have a car. It requires you to tap into extra time to go pick up people. First of all, nobody's probably going to be wanting Uber rides in the middle of the night, depending on where you live, I know. But like, it's just not effective, right? So that's just one example. It's not an effective option for most people if you have limited hours. And so I'm not saying that, and even even some direct sales or network marketing opportunities or e-commerce stores, or like some of that stuff takes hours and hours of like setup, and there's like, it's a lot of required work just to make it successful. And so I would suggest, just kind of as a tip, evaluate what the vehicle is that you're using for side gig income. Make sure that you're involved with some type of vehicle that actually makes it easy for you to build efficiently. All right, so number one, they need to be supportive of you marketing online. If not, it's going to take a lot more time. And if you got little time, not the right one. So your opportunity needs to be supportive of that. It also needs to be supportive and provide other things like good marketing for you. If you're having to come up with all of the marketing on your own, you're having to build the websites and, you know, create the funnels and do the sales calls and have all the calls yourself. Like, if you're having to do all of that stuff, each one of those activities takes time, takes more time. And so ideally, you want to be super effective and you got little bitty time. You want to look for opportunities that require the minimum amount of time, and they provide everything else that you would need. All right, and so some home business opportunities, they actually make it difficult to build online. They have rules and things that just make it non-conducive. Others just require too many steps in order to be successful. Hey, do these 19 or 30 steps every day and you'll be successful, no problem. All right, well, those take hours to do. You want something that's easy, simplistic, duplicatable. That is where you can thrive and be efficient and build a decent side gig income for yourself with not a lot of time. Look for simplicity. Simplicity is what leads to consistency, and consistency is the secret to success in home businesses or side gig incomes. Whenever I was starting out, I worked 3 jobs. I had 100 hours a week. In every 24-hour period, I had like between 4 and 7 hours to do everything. All my eating, my sleeping, my socializing, my business building, my everything. That's it. All of my other hours, I was working 100% of the time. And so I had to get really good at being efficient. And so these are some of the tips that I've picked up along the way. So there you go. I hope you got value from this. More importantly, I hope it inspired you today to be just a little bit better of a version of yourself today than you were yesterday. Nothing else. That's my hope, whatever that looks like for you. So if you did get value, let me know by leaving a comment or sharing with a friend, tagging somebody. I appreciate you guys showing up and engaging. Also, if you would like to know what some of my personal requirements are for a side gig income, or if you'd like to just have like a behind the scenes look at one of my businesses that I actually promote on the back end, then just let me know. I'm happy to share. I've got a fun little webinar that me and my business partner recently did. We show behind the curtain of exactly how the type of things that we look for in starting a good business. And so if you want that, there's nothing for sale on this webinar. It's just some valuable information. And so if you want me to send you a link to that replay, just comment below the words fun webinar. Leave me a comment and type in fun webinar inside of that comment. That'll let me know that you want me to send it to you. Or if you don't want to type it in, you just want to send me a private message, then just send me a private message. Say, hey, send me the fun webinar, and I'll shoot over what I got. So there you go. Hopefully you got value. Thanks again for watching. Dean, thank you for showing up. Thank you for contributing and engaging. I appreciate you, my friend. Thanks for those of you that hung on. All of you seeing the replay, give me a hashtag replay so I know that you're here. And I appreciate each and every one of you. Have an amazing day. Talk to you soon. Bye.